Okay, we'll begin now. So in this session, demo session, we are going to talk about WebLogic overview. I think everyone available. Aditya, Shri, Shanita,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you're there.
Go
Okay.
on, Pawan.
Okay, great. Yeah, so in this session, we are going to talk about architecture. What kind of architectures used in different environments. So, if you take the WebLogic perspective, there are different levels of supports are required. If you are going to build the environment for the developers, it is different, and making for the testing, it is a different environment. If you go for the performance load test and production and high availability in the live environments, it would be different. So there are different architectures requirement in the industry in the enterprise level. Okay, and if you talk about the domain, if you see google.com, yahoo.com, these are the domains, but WebLogic domain is not that one. What we are going to construct, it is a totally enterprise level application server domain. So we'll talk in detail one by one and then try to understand what is server. Okay, so this is our agenda, WebLogic overview, and we talked about a little bit evolutions, that is versions, how we are going to work. Current versions, is latest versions 11G and 12C are in the market, and why 12C is focusing what are the new features. Then we'll talk about the WebLogic provided services, different services. We'll talk about different platform supports and how we can grow in our career with the WebLogic base. On that one, we can go and learn latest Oracle products. And then what is the prerequisite? How we can begin administration work? What are the prerequisites? How we can go ahead for the installation process? So this is overall our agenda. So who can do this course? So any Java basic developer, they can do WebLogic administration for understanding what is happening inside, how the administration works. So if you see the developer perspective, it is only one server and every time they just do the deployments. But in the administration perspective, he has to think about how many users, most of the time number of users, how it has to sustain with the huge loads. Suppose if you take the developer, he is going to change some Java program, he will test, that is single user. If I'm going to test and testing team is going to work, then it is like 30 to some hundreds of users, test users are going to work. But if you look at the real-time live environment and enterprise business, a customer care system or a visit Visa card, or if you take the MasterCard, or if you take the some credit card application, that is any banking domain. All these are the live examples for WebLogic implementing enterprise level application implementations. So these administrators, like system administrators, network administrators, or operating system administrators, any administrator DBAs, they can learn this one very easily. And architects who are willing to construct complete solution with the WebLogic or Oracle Fusion middleware products, then we can go ahead and we can learn this. And the one is the people who want to involve in the IT infrastructure management or data center management for an enterprise, then it is the basic requirement. They should aware of this application management. So all these different streams can use this middleware basics of WebLogic. So why should I learn WebLogic? If you see the different comparisons, WebLogic is the number one JE. Now we are saying JE. Previously it is called J2EE application servers. Java Enterprise Edition application servers. So this Java application servers actually designed for mission critical applications. As I mentioned, Mission critical means which are not simple application. It is not limited to one particular location. It is expanded, it is spread across multiple countries, multiple continents. That kind of systems requires continuously available. If you take one example, ATM, it is always working. Even if you go for midnight, you can get the cash. This kind of systems, servers runs on the application servers like WebLogic. If you see the requirements, such kind of systems, mission critical systems, if you want to build, Java programming is the basic requirement. Application is built with the Java, and that will be running continuously on the server. That server is J2E server, J2E application server. That should provide best performance. If I am putting the card, credit card or debit card, it should immediately give the instructions on my screen, ATM board. Or if I am using HDFC bank account online accessing, it should give a screen which I need to do a transaction. So it should not take much time. So that is what expected by the most of the customers. Any e-business, any e-commerce, any banking domain, any these investments, all these are going to work with the high reliability and high performance requirements. To provide this, WebLogic is one of the best applications, sir. High availability, continuous availability we can get from WebLogic clustering capabilities. We are going to configure as an administrator. We must know about the how to make this entire WebLogic domain. It's a container. We can keep that highly available. How we can make? We can create cluster. We can provide the services on top of it, and that will give the best quality of the service. And why WebLogic is best? If you compare with the Tomcat is number one developers server. It is not number one in the enterprise level. So manageability is lacking in the JBoss and in the Tomcat. Coming to the competitor, WebSphere is the next second position in the application server market. So that's why this Oracle, once they acquired WebLogic, they keep on adding the best features, best plugins, best capabilities into the WebLogic, which are merged with three different application servers. Sun is acquired by Oracle. Sun is having Glassfish. Its capabilities, best features are added to the WebLogic. Oracle Application Server OC4J. That application capabilities are added to your WebLogic server in 11G. All best features are merged and it is given in the WebLogic. And it is having the best configuration capabilities. It is having the easy monitoring and comfortable screen is available. Enterprise Manager. If you see 11G, WebLogic 11G onwards, they are given a separate tool for monitoring, and you can easily manage. The maintenance is very less. Once you deploy the application on WebLogic server, for years it will run continuously without any problems. Only you need to bounce sometimes when there is a JVM is overloaded. That is a common problem in Java. Okay. So WebLogic provides coverage of the infrastructure. All Oracle platforms, as I told you, 27 different products are using WebLogic. So this provides all. It is going to give the best data sources, best drivers for connecting to the databases. Almost 15 different successful databases which are in the industry, that is provided by WebLogic. You don't need to get anything from them vendors. Oracle RAC is one of the best RDBMS, that is having the capabilities. Other than this, what we have other number of JMS capabilities. Your WebLogic is called a middleware application server. So why it is called? Because it is having other capabilities like JMS, Java Messaging Services. You can create Java servers, Java messaging servers, and it will work for two different capabilities. You can send the message synchronously, you can send the message asynchronously. You are using social media today, everybody using Facebook plus Google, right? So all these are using the MOMs, message oriented middlewares. So WebLogic is capable of doing that one. That's why we have a product called Oracle Web Center, Web Center Content. So it contains all the messages. You can contain any kind of data and you can send it to anybody. Okay, so any social media servers you can create on WebLogic Web Center content servers. So this is a one of the example out of the many 27 platforms. If you compare the job market in US, I'm not comparing in a local, I'm just taking one example from the US. Okay, the growth of WebLogic administration from the 2012 to now 2015, it is continuously growing, and the package salary also increasing. It is going around 115k per annum. If you take the same with the middleware administrator, Oracle Fusion middleware administrator, it is more than 120k, 125, it is more than that. So if you learn only WebLogic, half of the part of middleware administration is over, only half of is remaining. Any product from the middleware, Fusion middleware product, you can learn, and that will fulfill. That depends on the project, that depends on the needs of the company. So how we can grow after this WebLogic learning? Today we are learning WebLogic administration. What next? Next you can go ahead for the SOA OSB administration that covers BPM, BAM, etc. So SOA is a web service based applications which we can build on top of WebLogic. We can integrate these services, web services, with bus service, OSB, Oracle Service Bus. Then we can grow with this basic capabilities. WebLogic OSB is over. Then next step is you can go ahead and learn for the e-business or e-governance. E-business is huge in demand in most of the European countries. And if you look into the overall one environment setup, one setup completely, then you can make enterprise level architecture design. So that need at least 3 years experience into this overall WebLogic stacks. Then you can completely take the control of the data center. That takes almost 6 years. So this is a right overview of the career path and timelines. So you understood what is WebLogic and why WebLogic, then career. So now we want to understand in the WebLogic what we will get in an application server, what, why. So here, if you see, there are three different layers you can think. One is service layer, the second business layer, then the last one is presentation layer. Every architects, they are going to think about these layers only. They start from the bottom. The construction start from the top, but the end point is presentation. The data will be provided to the end user. The end user may be customer, it may be bank customer, it may be e-commerce business customer, or another business. So all these are possible with XML or HTML outputs or JSP or Servlet. That is a web applications we are going to have. So web applications we can have, other than this web applications, what we can have. That is the second container, business logic applications. Web container contains JSPs, servlets, HTML, other presentation tools. In the middle layer, if you see enterprise Java beans, enterprise logic, some of the projects uses Hibernate, Spring, some other framework which interacts from this middle container, that is EJB container. It contains pool of objects which will be provided as per the demand. As demand grows, these objects, business logic objects also grows. These objects, if you see entity bean, that will connect with the middle service, that is database. JDBC is one service that will be used and given to the entity bean. Session bean, it is uses some session. It will remember the customer, how long he is going to connect, what he is ordering, how many product is selected. That information is stored in the session bean. MDB, message driven beans. As I told you, MOM, WebLogic works like a MOM, message oriented middleware. It is supported by JMS. JMS is one API which is already included in your WebLogic server. You don't need to create, construct a new thing. It is already readily available on the WebLogic server. If you go for WebSphere, WMQ, it's a separate server. WebSphere MQ, and again it is having different MQ services, that is message oriented services. Separately it is going to run only messages, but here it is integrated within your WebLogic server. So that is a high capability messaging capability. You have database connections, you can connect to 15 different databases without installing any separate drivers. With WebLogic drivers itself you can connect to them. High security is provided from your WebLogic. You can make SSL communication. You can provide the data, whatever you are transferring from the server side, you are sending to the client. The data will be encrypted and decrypted using SSL certificates. That is provided. And transaction management. There is a separate API which is defined in the J2E specification. If you see, there are number of specifications that combined, and it is called as a J2E. In that pack, one of the specification is JTA, Java Transaction API. Java Transaction API supports one database, two JMS. These two services underneath JTA is going to work for you. You don't need to write any programs, you don't need to write any XMLs, you don't need to configure any something new. It is already readily available underneath for you. It will maintain everything and it will provide high availability for the transactions, for the messages, and it is easy to monitoring because we have number of protocol support. If you see on the top box services, the protocol box, HTTP is supported by default. For every WebLogic server, it is supported. HTTP plus SSL, that is HTTP, yes, that is also supported. SOAP, service, what is service oriented architecture, whatever we are using, that web services or SOA architecture, then SOAP is also internal part you can enable on your WebLogic servers. You can use three different protocols on SOAP. RMI is Java to Java communication, that a session being talked to JSP or servlet talks to MDB. These kind of internal Java communications happens with RMI. RMI is renamed and reused, that is with the T3 protocol. The T3 means it's a basic proprietary protocol of WebLogic. T3 means Tengai protocol. Okay, so from WebLogic 3 version onwards, they are using communication purpose. Internal communication is used with the T3 protocol. IIOP, you are going to communicate between interoperability. That is, you can communicate with not only Java programs, you can communicate with the .NET, C Sharp, some other COBOL, mainframe, old other legacy systems also you can communicate with the protocol. There are separate parts, Tuxedo or some other tools are there. So that kind of integrating softwares also connect with the IIoT protocol. For monitoring, we are going to have a separate protocol called Simple Network Monitoring Protocol (SNMP) that is also supported on your WebLogic server. And WebLogic provides the top number one performance. That's why Oracle use this one for number of platforms. Okay. Any questions? WebLogic. What is WebLogic? What it contains? Can I go ahead for next? Shri, are you able to hear me?
Yes, yes, you can.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, so if you are going to learn about the WebLogic, then what we need to install, what are the softwares required? On your system, if you are signed up for my classes, before starting the next session, you must download these basic tools: Notepad++, Putty, and WinSCP, a Oracle VirtualBox, a Vagrant software installation, and download JDK, download WebLogic. And what version you are preferred, you can select that one. I don't mind using 11G or 12C. Okay, so why we have to learn 12C means 12C is advanced one. If you know more, you can survive, you can go ahead, and next project also you can work with the migration capabilities, because 12C includes all the 11G capabilities. Okay.
So, can we go like this? We can work on 11G and after migration we can work on 12C like that.
Yeah, that is your choice. You can take whatever the software you want. That is your choice. On your mission, you have to learn, right? So your administration, you are going to learn on 11G. Okay, fine. Only few directories, subdirectories will change. That's all.
Currently we are, training on, you are giving the training on 12C or 11G?
I am giving both.
Okay, great.
You can do installation on your system. That is your choice. 11G or 12C. If you are going to download, 11G means 10.3.6 version you have to download WebLogic. Okay, and it will work above JDK 1.6 above version. 11G also works with the 1.6 and above, and 12C also works from the same. So if you go for 12C, I always prefer for the latest version, 7 point any latest version, or 8 point any latest version. Current Java version is 9. Okay, so these are the basic software requirements. Other than this, we are going to create one virtual machine.
What is this vagrant?
Yeah, Vagrant is a layer which will help us to provision a virtual box on our laptop. We can create a virtual machine. One Linux box we can create, any Linux box, Red Hat or Ubuntu or some other CentOS, but my preference is Ubuntu, easy to use, because we don't want to learn all the Linux administration commands. You can go ahead for the Oracle Linux, or you can go ahead for the Ubuntu. These are the two easiest learning curves for the Linux boxes. So there are
Okay.
boxes readily available on the internet. You can just say vagrantbox.es, then you can find the boxes. Why I am specifying this Vagrant, what is the advantage you will get means, if you go for the virtual box, creating only virtual box, you need to create one virtual box with at least 3 gigabytes. So 3 GB space you require for one box, one virtual machine. And VMware also one of the option, but I don't prefer because the screen doesn't give much uh, bigger screen. A lot of complexities in the configuring in VMware. VMware is not open source. Oracle VirtualBox is a open source, freely available. Vagrant is also freely available, open source.
Okay.
Okay, so
Yeah, VMware, I think it is only available for 1 month or so.
yeah, trial version is available, and after that one you need to take the license. And workstation is a flexible one in the VMware, but that requires a license compulsory.
So this does not require anything of that sort, right?
Correct. Oracle VM doesn't require any licenses.
Oh,
There are somewhere 300 to 400 boxes readily configured, and it is available. Vagrantbox.es site. You can see there. Each one will be
and
just 300 or 400 size of MBs only.
any database that we need to install, not required.
Oracle XC would be our preference. So you can go ahead for the XC. You can learn with the WebLogic administration. You can finally work with the XC. So you don't need anything extra. So if you go for the Fusion middleware products, SOA will also work on the Oracle XC. But after the SOA, if you are going for IDM or some other products, then definitely you need Enterprise Edition Oracle database required.
By default, there is a database with the WebLogic, right?
Yes, that is a smaller database, and it is a Derby database.
Okay, done.
Apache Derby. Apache is a open source database providing a name as a Derby.
Okay.
Hello.
Hi, who's this?
This is Shankar. I just joined. Sorry, Pawan.
Oh, okay, fine. Yeah, Shankar, I just given the brief idea about what is WebLogic, what are the basic requirements. So I just started basic requirements, what you need to download from the internet. Okay, so I'll just continue this one, but I'll again come back to your at the end of the session. Okay, yeah.
Okay, fine, fine.
So software requirements, I'm just telling you, you need to download editing purpose Notepad++, and for connecting to the Linux box, we are going to learn everything on Linux because every project need Linux based installations. We don't do Windows based installations. Okay, we can do, that's not a problem, but at least minimum requirement is we are going to create one virtual box that uses a Linux inside, and we'll try to work on real-time simulating kind of thing, and we don't get any GUI. Everything will try to work on a CUI only. So whenever you're connecting to some remote machine which is running on US, which is running on UK, then definitely we are going to connect with the local network which is connected from your company to that particular client. So we are connecting with the PuTTY or SSH or WinSCP. So these are the common things. Safest is the WinSCP. So if you want to put some files into your Linux box from your Windows machine, we can use WinSCP. Okay. So other than this, there is FileZilla is there, but that it makes a lot of corruptions in the files. So don't use that one. I don't recommend that one. So first thing, what you have to download Vagrant and Oracle VirtualBox. These two are important, and then we can proceed further. JDK is important. JDK for Linux you have to download, and Oracle WebLogic, whatever your choice. 11G if you are going to work, then WebLogic 11 point, sorry 10.3.6 is the latest version in 11G, and in 12C 12.1.3 is the latest version. So if you learn WebLogic 12C, that will be running in the industry up to 2019. Another 4 years, you can go with the 12C. And 11G is supported because of most of the fusion middleware products. If you are growing with the other products, you want to learn something, then definitely it will 11G you can start. There's no problem. No, you can do two versions also in the same machine. That is up to you. So one version you can use at a time, one version another time you can try. That is also possible. Um, Database Oracle XE, we are going to create one virtual box and then we'll use. So that is my idea about software products we need to download. So what is WebLogic Administration contains? Daily activities, what they are going to do, overall job that is here on the screen. First thing is installation. This is not daily activity. This will be one of the requirement. Once your box is installed with the WebLogic, then it won't be repeated. Installation is done, first time migration is done, then that's it. It will be keep running for 1 year or 2 years. That depends on the what product you are running on top of it. Once installation is done, environment is ready, then the next step is configuration. This configuration is having different levels. First level is environment configuration. Second level you can say service configurations. First level is also again one-time activity. You are going to configure a WebLogic domain using some WebLogic templates. Then you are going to configure inside the admin servers, manage servers, and clusters, machines, node manager. These are the basic requirements of environment. One WebLogic domain you are creating means all these are inside in the WebLogic domain. Configuring services. What kind of services we are going to configure? We are going to configure connectivity with the database JDBC and JMS configuration. Sometimes you are going to connect with some other third party systems like you are going to have MQ systems or some other tuxedo systems or mainframe systems, integration systems. In that cases, we are going to use bridges. Okay, so WebLogic works as a MOM in that cases. And if you are going to see deployments, WebLogic daily activities, that's one of the common activity, repeated activity, that is deployments. Whenever developer come up with the different code changes, the code will be in archive format, that is zipped format. That may be a web application that is having the extension as .war file, enterprise application which contains EJBs that can have the extension as .jar or .ear, and the applications that may have some utilities or that may have some libraries that can have .jar extension. So what we are going to do, we are going to do redeploying, undeploying and deploying. So these are the common activities we are going to do as an administrator. There are different domains as I told you. One common differentiation you can make, one is live environment, that is production environment. Another all comes into non-production environment. In the non-production environment, you are going to have lot of different named domains you can have. Development domain. See, you can have the test environments, number of types of test environments. System integration, one type of domain. User acceptance test, another type of domain. Performance load test, another type of domain. So different testings requires different environments. So for each environment, we will construct all these steps, then we'll do the deployments. So what will be stable? Up to 3 steps will be stable. Deployment activity will be repeatedly happens. Then what we are going to do after deploying, some of the applications are going to have some persistent objects. They are going to have some storage of the last what it is happened, last connection, what it is doing in the particular container. It may be web container, it may be business logic container, that EJB container. So if it is having some persistent objects, then we need to do restart of the servers, stop the servers and start the servers. So these are the common repeated tasks: deployment and start and stop the servers. Then in production environments, up to this one is common for both, but which is repeated, if you see in production, deployment will be happen only if it is agile methodology. Every 2 weeks they are going to use, or some of that depends on the project, but minimum time there is a specific release management is going to be there. According to that one only you are going to have the WebLogic deployments. Then we are going to have the production environments, which is going to have the proactive monitoring capabilities with different tools. We are going to have Nagios, we are going to have Zabax. These activities, these tools are actually configured for check every machine, every server, what they are doing, how they are performing, is it working, running, or it is failed. So that kind of information we can capture and see continuously. That is what the production support people are going to monitor. Whenever there is a problem, what kind of problems we can encounter? Sometimes memory problems, sometimes CPU spikes, sometimes network spikes. So these are the some set of common problems classified. We'll discuss in detail when we come to the last of this course. Okay, so troubleshooting activity is one of the common activity which is there for the production environments. Performance and tuning, this is very much required for PLT, performance tuning environments. PLT testing environments is separate simulated environments which are same as in production. They have the same cluster, same number of servers, and each server is also have the same power also. If there is a 2000 megahertz speed of the CPU used in the production, same speed should be used in the PLT environment. Okay, so this performance tuning is commonly used in a PLT environments. Once it is succeeded, it is given the expected response time, speed, optimistic output, then we can change that parameters in the production environments. So these are the daily activities for the WebLogic administrator. So if you see the picture, we are going to have a layer, WebLogic management framework. On that one, configuration activity first we are going to do, then we are doing repeatedly deployment and start and stop, finally we are doing monitoring. WebLogic console gives these capabilities connecting to all these. Monitoring part will be done with the EM, enterprise manager, and WLST, that is I told you the scripting tool. It's a Python based script which used in the WebLogic, and we can do all these 4 activities. We can configure, we can deploy, we can start, we can stop the servers, we can monitor the services, servers, everything from the WLST. Not only WebLogic console capabilities, we can do more than that. WebLogic console, whatever you are seeing on the screen, more than that we can do from the WLST Python scripts. Okay, so your environment may be running on number of servers, that may be running on one machine, that may be running on multiple machines. If you see the non-production environment, you can run in single machine also, but if you go for the production environment, we always prefer to make multiple machines, multi-node environments. Okay, so these are the daily activities. Any questions?
Pavan,
Yeah,
this Sri here.
yeah, Shri.
For the for the production deployments, every time you are stopping and starting the services, or what?
That depends
Every
on the
every time.
application. If application doesn't have caching, then it is not required. Caching is there, then you must restart.
Okay, how much time it will take to deploy? Actually, like you are saying that every 15 days, if there is a release.
Yeah,
Okay,
correct.
so at the time of deployment, so there is a outage.
Correct. Yeah, every outage that depends on the application size. Some applications they are going to have 2 3 years are jar files, war files. I worked on recently one South Africa project that contains 22 EAR files. Only deploying 22 ARs, it takes half an hour deploying part. Restarting, it takes half an hour. So it takes around 1 hour outage. So most of the time, the
Okay.
deployment process will be in the production environments in the night or weekends. So it should not disturb any live environment activities. So that is what release management people will plan for that.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Sir, basically to keep something parallelly running, normally what is actually done? Like without having the environment down, but to have it parallelly running. See, basically I have some existing environment X. Okay, so my work should not get affected. So my X has to keep running. Parallelly, I will get a new war files or ER files for a say new build
Eh,
related files I will get.
Yeah, I got your
So
question. Yeah, for that one, in WebLogic
that
we
is
have.
how my environment is used.
Yeah, I got your question. So if you have two builds, one build already deployed and it is keep running, and you don't want to make outage, so WebLogic
Yeah,
given one advantage, we can run the application continuously with the older version, and one of the server will continue, and new code will be deployed in the domain, and you can serve from one of the server. So if that is successfully connected and giving all the required process working fine, then we can make that latest version available and old version can retire. So retirement of deployment we can do in WebLogic only. No other application server provides this capability. This is called side by side deployment. One side you are having old version, another side we have the latest version, and you don't need to stop entire domain, entire WebLogic domain. Okay, so that is about deployment. Anyhow, we come to that deployments process everything in detail. We don't worry. This is a introduction class, so I can just go ahead for the WebLogic domain side. Any other questions for the basic daily activities? Shankar, you have any questions? Sunita? Okay, I'm moving to next.
Uh,
Yeah.
no, Pawan. So
Okay.
I'm fine with it.
Thank you. WebLogic domain. So if you see the picture of this side, left side, right side, if you see the entire domain, so the definition is actually the domain is an interrelated set of WebLogic servers. What is this? Actually, this picture is having four servers. One is admin server. Remaining three are in blue color. These are managed servers. Collectively, we are calling this one as a WebLogic domain. Admin server controlling remaining managed servers. Admin server is like a manager. It will take all the requests, whatever you are going to do the daily activities. You want to configure something, who is going to take? Admin console. The commands will be given to whom? Admin server. Admin server works like a interface, and it will be configuring the database connectivity. It will be doing the web application deployment or any application which you want to deploy on top of it. Okay, and then you want to do some secure sockets, or you want to give some applications with high availability, you want to configure cluster, you want to configure node manager. All these configurations commands is running from the admin server. Okay, so you're going to have a domain. It's a collection of servers, logically collection. You never see something here it is a domain, there it is a domain, but in directory structure you can see a domain directory. But when you run that one, you can get this logical assumption, logical interconnectivity. Admin server is actually having the total configuration repository with it. Okay, so the configuration we can modify in three ways. As I told you, WLST you can use, or your admin console you can use. Okay, some of the configurations you can do with JMX Java programs. So three ways you have. Okay, what are those, Sunita? JMX Java programs, WLST, admin console. Three options are there. Okay, yeah. So WebLogic domain, basically it's a administrative unit which contains all configuration capabilities. You can monitor something on that, and you can assign some task. WebLogic domain contains exactly one admin server only. You can have only one admin server in one WebLogic domain. You cannot give more than that. Okay, this is one important point. The second thing, without manage server, yes, without manage server you can create a domain. In that case, admin server become a manage server. It will work. It is like a slave. Admin server take the request and it will implement the JDBC, JMS, whatever you want to configure. That work will be done on from your admin server itself. Single installation in one machine, you can create multiple WebLogic servers, you can create managed servers, you can create admin servers on the same machine. That depends on the memory capabilities and CPU capabilities. So single installation will be used in one machine. So if you have 12c, you can install 12c. If you have 11g, you can install 11g domain. But one time you are installed 11g, you can configure and you created a domain. Same thing can I use in the 12c? No, you cannot use that one. You need to migrate that one, then only it will work. Okay, fine. The domain can be spread across multiple machines. Yes, you can create a domain across some 30 machines, 100 machines, 50 machines. Physical machines, you can use Linux machines and you can create WebLogic installations, WebLogic domains with multiple machines. Any questions?
Pawan, one question. What is the exact difference between this managed server and admin server? As you said, I can understand, like, all the commands will be given to admin server that will be sent to all managed server. So what is the need of managed server?
Admin server is like controlling everything. Managed server is actually takes the work and do the work. Managed servers are like slaves. Admin server is like a manager. Okay, so managed servers having the same capability. Actually, in the configuration wise, how we are going to configure, what we are going to deploy, according to that one, its functionality will changes. In one managed server, you deploy EJB, it will behave only for EJBs. In another managed server, you deployed web application. It will work for servlets and JSPs. Whereas admin server, you are not targeted anything. Then admin server only do the configurations monitoring part. It doesn't serve any request. Okay. So if you are going to serve admin server, then that is for development environments. We are going to do that one. Admin server work like a managed server. In production systems, it will be distributed. Its works will be distributed among multiple servers. Okay. Anyhow,
So
we'll
if
will
I
have
say
all the
something,
differences in one slide I have, and I will discuss in detail in the next session about the differences of the admin server and managed servers. Yeah. Any other questions?
Okay. Good.
Yeah, so basically, see, if I have, if assume I have an application, so when I am actually hitting the application or accessing the application,
Mm-hmm.
my request first goes to the
Sorry, I'm not getting your voice. It's breaking.
see if I assume I have an application.
Yeah, it will
Okay,
have the
so
request from the presentation layer, then it will go into the business layer, then it will go to the backend. Okay.
true. So basically, when I am actually accessing an application,
Right.
assuming that the environment setup, everything has been done as you said using admin server,
Yeah.
the managed servers and everything.
Okay.
So when I'm accessing the application, whenever my request goes to the server, right? So is it the request is directly going to the managed server or it is going to the first to the admin server and from admin server it
Mm,
is getting routed to the
no, no,
managed
no,
server.
that's not correct. Yeah, here you need to understand this architecture so that you can get clarity. So management administration is totally different, but request processing is another thing. So if you come to this picture, the architecture, a customer or client is accessing through the web application. A web application is available on the browser, then the requests go to the load balancer in the presentation layer. If you see that requests go to the web server. The web server like Apache server and some other. Okay. And if the requests go to the load balancer will take the request and pass it to the web servers first. First layer is a web servers, Apache or OHS or ISS. These are the different web servers. And remember, we are not serving one request. We are serving thousands of requests. As a WebLogic administrator, you need to think, always think about multiple users, millions of users, hundreds of users. At least you think about hundreds users. One request comes, it doesn't go to one server, it goes to any of the server. So first what server? First it will go to the load balancer, then it will go to the web server. Once it is hit to the web server, that will be passed to the next layer, presentation layer, which is serving JSPs and servlets. I told you JSPs and servlets are in which server? Admin server or managed server?
See, exactly. They are on the managed server. That is my question is precisely
Correct.
that when see I have say as you said I have a load balancer. Now,
Correct.
load balancer might also be on one of the managed servers, or load balancer will be on the admin server. It can be anywhere, right?
No, sorry. Admin server cannot have the load balancer.
So it is on the managed server.
Right. So exactly, your
Yeah.
request will first
So
hit your managed servers only. That too, which servers are in presentation layer. Are in presentation means which application servers are running with the web application. Okay.
so this admin server is so which means suppose if I have four or five managed servers,
Okay.
like each managed server is doing a different job. Like one is having JSPs, servlets. One is having like EJB.
Business
Okay,
logic.
so in that yeah, so in that way, if I have say four or five managed servers,
Okay.
so my request whenever I hit the request, so it is going to the managed server, not to the admin server.
Request never go to the admin server in production systems. In live
Okay.
environment never goes to admin servers. Okay, admin server is only for administration purpose, and it is used. If you hit the request, it will go to that one. That is the one server. If you are going to configure, that is only for development environment, not in real time live environment. Okay, so admin server is no way participating in your real-time live environments. It is only for administrating, it is only for configuring, monitoring that activities, which will help us to administrators help purpose. We are going to use that admin server. It is an interface. Okay, so WebLogic servers in the business layer, it is going to pass the request to the backend, that is database. So this database also we are going to create highly available. And why we are having this many layers? Why do we need everything? Why can't we put into one server? If one thing goes down, one logic, one particular component is connecting from some third party, data business logic business layer is connected with some other third party business, or you are going to have database is running on another mission. Why we are going to keep another mission? Or presentation layers we are going to keep on another mission. Why we want to keep another mission? This making loosely couple is always easy to identify where is a problem. First thing that is, and you can easily identify, you can easily troubleshoot the issues in live environments. Multi-tenancy, you can make this kind of environment in virtual environments, you can create in clouds, you can create in physical data centers as well. So these are the different possibilities of setup of the production environments. And it is easy to integrate also what part you want to connect from where. So that is also easy for integrating entire architecture. Okay, this presentation layer again they can break down into multiple layers if there is a need. Okay, so this presentation layer and business layer combinedly we are calling it as a middleware. End user is a browser, backend user is a database or storage, something where you are storing the data. Okay, so what we are going to support from the WebLogic, support all the J2E specifications. 6 and above supports 12C. JSPs, JSF, servlets, these are the presentation layer. EJBs and web services are in the middle. JMS also in the middle. JCA is adapter, and then JMX. It's a whole architecture depends on the JMX, Java Management Extension. MBIN architecture actually internally uses WebLogic. Database connectivity is from JDBC. So this is also comes into the business logic layer. Okay, so these are the different application level supported APIs. Okay, so that is all about this today's session. So if you have any questions, we can talk now. Up to now, I have given brief idea about the what is WebLogic, how the architecture, what is the domain, how the servers